Hilda the hippo and Douglas the donkey were the best of friends. They lived near a wide, muddy river, its banks thick with reeds.
Every day they played together. Sometimes they splashed in the shallows, Hilda's powerful legs churning the water. Other times they rolled in the mud, Douglas's long ears flopping with glee.
One sunny afternoon, Douglas gazed across the river. The grass on the other side looked so green and inviting. "Hilda," he brayed, "let's go over there. The grass looks tastier."
Of course, Douglas, she chuckled. Hold on to my back and I'll take us across.
Douglas clambered onto Hilda's broad back, his hooves finding purchase in the folds of her thick skin. The hippo's patience was remarkable as she waited for Douglas to settle. Once he was secure, she took a deep breath, preparing for the journey ahead. With a powerful push, Hilda launched herself into the water. The splash was enormous, sending ripples across the river. Douglas held on tightly, his eyes wide with excitement and a hint of fear. The current tugged at them, but Hilda was strong. She navigated the swirling waters with ease, her powerful legs propelling them forward. Douglas marveled at her strength, feeling safe despite the rushing water around them. She reached the opposite bank with ease, Douglas still clinging on, his fur plastered to his sides. The journey had been thrilling, and Douglas felt a rush of gratitude towards Hilda for her unwavering support.
The grass was indeed delicious. It was lush and green, a stark contrast to the dry terrain they had left behind. The sight of it made Douglas's mouth water. Douglas, ever the eager eater, munched away with gusto. Each bite was a delight, and he couldn't get enough of the fresh, juicy blades of grass. He ate and ate, oblivious to the world around him. The more he ate, the more he wanted, losing himself in the simple pleasure of the feast. His stomach, unaccustomed to such rich fare, began to gurgle and protest. The discomfort grew, and Douglas realized he might have overindulged.
Hilda, meanwhile, lay peacefully on the bank, enjoying the warm sun on her back. She watched Douglas with a knowing smile, understanding his excitement and the consequences of his indulgence. She closed her eyes, content to let Douglas have his fill. The sun was warm, the river was calm, and for a moment everything was perfect in their little corner of the world. Suddenly, a loud bray erupted from Douglas the donkey. He had eaten too much, too quickly, and now his stomach was painfully bloated. The sound echoed across the wide open field, reaching the ears of a nearby farmer who was tending to his crops. The farmer, startled and visibly annoyed, grabbed his rake and stormed towards the source of the noise, muttering under his breath.
Hilda's eyes flew open, her heart pounding in her chest. She saw the angry farmer approaching rapidly and with a surge of fear, knew they had to escape immediately. "Douglas, run!" she bellowed, scrambling to her feet with urgency.
Douglas, startled and still bloated, stumbled awkwardly towards the river, his legs barely able to support his weight. The farmer, with his rake raised high, was gaining on them quickly, his face red with anger. Hilda, with a protective instinct, pushed Douglas towards the water, shielding him with her large, sturdy body. The farmer's rake caught her hind leg, leaving a stinging scrape that made her wince in pain.
Hilda plunged into the water, the coolness providing some relief to her injured leg. Ignoring the throbbing pain, she focused on swimming as fast as she could. She swam with all her might, her powerful legs propelling her forward. Douglas clung to her back, his small body trembling with fear. They swam tirelessly until they finally reached the safety of the other side, exhausted but relieved.
Once on the familiar bank, Douglas finally found his voice.
"Hilda, I am so sorry. It's all my fault. I ate too much and brayed too loudly."
Hilda, though hurting, forced a smile.
"It's all right, Douglas. We are safe now."
She limped towards a particularly muddy patch and began to roll. Douglas watched, confused.
"What are you doing? You're hurt."
This is how we hippos heal. The mud soothes the pain and helps us feel better.
Douglas, watching Hilda, realized something important. He had been so focused on his own needs and desires that he had overlooked the importance of understanding Hilda's perspective. He had been so caught up in his own desire for the grass that he had forgotten about Hilda and her ways. The lush green grass had blinded him to the dangers that lurked around them. He had put them both in danger because he didn't stop to think. The savannah was a place of beauty, but also of peril, and their survival depended on mutual awareness. He realized that even though they were different, their friendship was special. It was a bond that transcended their differences, built on trust and companionship. They needed to understand each other's habits and traditions to stay safe and happy. This understanding was not just about survival, but also about thriving together in harmony. From that day forward, Douglas made a special effort to learn about Hilda's hippo ways. He observed her closely, noting her routines and preferences, and Hilda, in turn, became more aware of Douglas's donkey habits. She began to appreciate his cautious nature and his love for the grass. Their friendship, strengthened by understanding and respect, grew even stronger, proving that even the most different of creatures can build a beautiful bond. They learned that their differences were not a barrier, but a bridge to a deeper connection.